Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Wheeler, and today I wanted to dive into the interpretive view for the organization St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I wanted to dive into St. Jude's because it is an organization to me that is not your typical corporate stone cold organization. There's a bit more empathy and I think a bit more depth behind it. So, when I was looking at this organization, I had originally watched a YouTube interview that was done about a year ago, June 2019, on St. Jude's actual YouTube channel. The chief executive, Brian Helleland, was interviewed, and he was actually interviewed specifically on the culture of St. Jude's. So I found this fascinating to hear right from the horse's mouth, the culture, and the cultural perspective that he, as the chief executive of St. Jude's, has. Obviously, we all have a public perception. You see the ads on TV, hear them on the radio. I'm sure if you're online, you've seen an ad here or there, or maybe even gotten something in the mail to donate to them, or maybe you are a donor. Um, Listening to Brian talk, he was saying that the culture at St. Jude's is organic. It just happens. It is all about engagement and the engagement on the administrative level. Everybody in HR, in the marketing team, finance, etc., along with those doctors and caregivers that are working hand in hand every single day with the patients. Who are obviously the main reason St. Jude's exists in the first place. Listening to him talk about how organic this culture was and how there are certain things, set in place, such as employee surveys and skip meetings where they are able to kind of converse through different levels of management or through different departments to, have collaborative conversation, working towards their goal of and their common goal that they're really known for is finding a cure and saving children, and that is their main driving force behind everything that they do. And Brian really focused on that, and how, again, that engagement on all fronts is what drives the corporate culture. Now, with the interpretive view of culture, specifically relating to St. Jude's, that is, the interpretive view really looks at culture as that it can't be managed. It's too complex to be managed. And looking at St. Jude's, it really parallels some of the examples that we look at in the cases that we've studied. One of the cases, really, again, it was the ice cream experience by Heather Carmack, talked about how an essence of theatrics really is needed in terms of culture and shaping culture, and that you need to study the culture to understand the culture. Not that you can necessarily manipulate it, because again, we're looking at that interpretive view, but in this case, look at the St. Jude's ads you see on TV. They have a sick child with cancer staring you in the face saying, all of your donations are going to help. What does that do? It's a level of theatrics that they're using, but it really sends the message, because at the end of the day, St. Jude's vision statement, paralleling with this other example by Heather Carmack again, their vision statement for the company is to accelerate progress against catastrophic disease at a global level. And again, the common goal of finding cures and saving children. The level of theatrics through the marketing, through the fundraising, is really, it'll paint that picture of the culture of St. Jude's Cares. They want to help children, they want to make a difference. And similarly, that level of empathy really comes into play with driving donations. People understand their mission, their vision, their goal, and want to contribute to that greater good, if you will. St. Jude's has a immeasurable reputation almost when it comes to children's hospitals, one of the top organizations in the country, in the United States, that really has an amazing internal and external culture. Now, obviously, with that external, we touched on in terms of the empathy and not, you know, shaping the culture, not molding the culture in terms of trying to control it and setting XYZ expectations and policies, but being able to study the market and really grab those donations, grab those donors, grab those sponsors to help promote their goal, um, externally, that is. On the internal level, we look at the culture itself. And now Forbes and one of the fundraising partners for St. Jude's has done research, um, in a study that their partner, ALSAC, who's their main fundraising partner that they work with, did a study of St. Jude's employees saying that their morale and enthusiasm for their mission has never been higher. And they're working again towards that common goal, which really shapes and drives their culture of finding a cure and saving children, something that all of their employees are incredibly passionate about. And again, spreading these families' stories, storytelling, getting the message out there, and again, spreading their goal is honestly, again, what I would think of from an outside perspective in terms of driving that culture. And now to hear internally that this is what's driving their culture, this enthusiasm, this passion, this ability to have a want and a desire to help these children and help these families affected by disease, is quite remarkable, to be quite honest. And again, I wanted to pick something in an organization that is not so cut and dry, that it has a lot of levels, in terms of the culture. Obviously, you have the administrative, where you have your policies and procedures, but you look at the internal and the doctors and the caregivers. I look at specifically the article Storytelling Defines Your Organizational Culture, which looks at the Albuquerque Presbyterian Hospital, and a woman named Mrs. Vaughn, who worked there for 50 years. She worked in every facet of the hospital you could imagine. And even after her death and her leaving the hospital, the culture still was enveloped and intertwined with her energy and how much she cared, the message she put out, the stories of these families that she would relay, to really hone in and let the audience being again external factors, people who aren't necessarily affiliated with St. Jude but are maybe seeing advertisements, the families who are going there, and then again from an internal perspective, the employees driving that passion and that desire to help those in need. The culture there is so uplifting and positive that, similar to that of the Albuquerque Presbyterian Church, or other hospitals I'm sure that are out there, and fundraising organizations affiliated with them, have this common culture of storytelling, about looking at a high performance organization like St. Jude's and seeing that these stories of these families, the results don't lie. So the positive organizational culture drives the external, individuals to come participate and help in a common goal, a greater good, saving children and finding cures. And additionally, drives internal morale, makes those people want to get up every single day and go to work and make a difference. So, just to again wrap it all up here, I think St. Jude has a wonderful, um, leader in Brian and other executives, and how they are not trying to, make their culture so cut and dry and really lay out a set of expectations. They let the employees, through their engagement, throughout, departments and external engagement with the patients and their families, really drive their passion to help others and really drive their corporate culture. And I think that that is, at the end of the day, what makes them such a standout in terms of culture and in terms of looking at the culture in an interpretive way. So I hope you guys like this little summary here of St. Jude's, and just a little plug, if you're not a donor, maybe consider it. They are a wonderful, amazing cause near and dear to my heart. And yeah, I hope you guys learned a little bit about them today, and have a great rest of your summers. Take care, guys.